Alright, let's get this webinar started. Hello everybody, my name is Zach Evans and I hope you're having an awesome week because today we are going to learn how to learn 5 songs on piano a day easily using the play-by-ear method. And it really is possible, you really can learn that many songs a day. I'm Zach Evans, as I said, and I want to teach you how to become what I call a car ride pianist. And this is where you can literally be on the car ride home and be listening to the radio, and you can hear a song on the radio, you can learn it on the car ride home, and the minute you step into the door, you can already play it on piano. I want you to spend more time actually enjoying the songs you learn instead of spending all this time slaving over measure after measure after measure of sheet music, so you can actually enjoy the music you're playing, which is the whole purpose of learning to play piano anyway. And I'm going to teach you how playing by ear actually works. Hint, the just do it over and over method, it does not work. Trust me, I tried that for a long time, banging my head against the wall, and finally when I went to college and took a class on oral skills, I figured out the system of how it actually works, and we'll talk about that more later in this webinar. Alright, here's what we're going to cover. First, we're going to talk about how vending machines relate to playing by ear. It sounds weird, but trust me, it's going to make you understand the process a lot better. And why it's a must-learn technique for piano players, in my opinion. And then we're going to talk about the nuts and bolts of it. The first strategy, the note expansion strategy. The second strategy, the interval strategy. And the third one, the left-hand trick. And trust me, learning this left-hand trick will make learning the left-hand part of any song 10 times easier than trying to do it the old-fashioned way. And we'll talk about that later. And then at the end, we're going to talk about the biggest mistakes beginners make. Please watch this section because it will help you learn to play by ear much faster than if you make some of these mistakes and get stuck on those plateaus. Then we're going to talk about free PDF cheat sheets I got going on as well, and a special webinar bonus deal if you're interested and you want to take your piano game even to that next level. I'm going to tell you about a special deal I have going on. Probably the best deal I've ever given out on Piano University. Alright, so if you can hear me, if you can see my screen, if you're ready, type in ready into the question box and we'll get started. And the first thing I want you to do is eliminate distractions. Now, if you're anything like me, I know I'm addicted to my phone. Right now, I'm addicted to Snapchat. I'm on that thing all the time. And if you're on one of those things, honestly, you know you're not going to learn as well as if you don't have those distractions. So if you could turn your phone off, close out of any other tabs. If you want to full screen this webinar, that would be great. And just get ready to get started. And if you're watching this live, I'm also going to have a webinar replay available to you because I'm going to have a couple different camera angles going on and do some fancy video editing and just get it so you can see, so I can explain it as well as possible using as many different angles as I can. Alright, let's get started. What would happen if you could easily learn 5 songs a day on the piano? I want you to think about this. I want you to think about actually sitting down at the piano and every day knowing 5 songs that you didn't know the day before. It really is possible, but you have to put in a little bit of work up front. Now, this is what gets me into what does this vending machine right here have to do with playing by ear. I know it sounds kind of crazy, but I want you to imagine this. Imagine you own a lemonade stand. And it's going to get kind of weird, but trust me, the metaphor will make sense. Now, every day, you go to the bottom of your driveway and you sell lemonade to people walking past your driveway, right? And you're out there in the hot sun 8 hours a day selling lemonade. But it's a good business. You make $100 a day, and if you divide that out, that's going to come out to $12 per hour. But eventually you get sick of going to the bottom of your driveway every day and slaving away for 12 hours in the hot sun selling to all the kids walking past the street, and you start to think, okay, let's be smart about this. How can I make more money with less work? And you start to think about vending machines, right? You know, if you set up a vending machine, it's going to take a lot less work on your part and you can still sell the same amount of lemonade. But the catch is there's an initial investment, right? You might have to spend 4 months saving up the money to buy the vending machine. You're going to have to go knocking on doors of restaurants and stores and stuff asking to put your vending machine in those stores. You're going to have to look up all the legal ramifications of opening up a vending machine, how to buy in bulk, how to refill them, all this stuff. It's going to be maybe 4 months of figuring all this stuff out. But once you figure it out, all of a sudden you can still sell that same $100 a day of lemonade But now all the work you have to do is once a month you go, you refill the lemonade machine, and you take your money out of the vending machine. So now 1 hour, a month, you're still making, $100 a day times 30 days. You're still making $3,000, but now you're making $3,000 an hour. 1 hour at a time gets you $3,000, where before 1 hour at a time got you $12. You literally just 25x your per hour income. Now, how does this relate to piano? What if you could 25x your per hour of practice time? What if every hour of practice time you literally could learn 25 times the material? Here's how it works for piano. Now, if you don't know how to play by ear, I don't know, this might not be an accurate estimate, but for me, before I could play by ear, I was learning a song a month. Maybe a song every 2 weeks, you could say, maybe 2 songs a month. But it would take me probably 30 hours to learn a song, to go by each measure, learn each measure, then put them together, hands together, all that stuff. 30 hours per song. So, how can I learn more with less practice, right? I don't want to spend 30 hours learning one song, just like I don't want to go to the bottom of my driveway every day, spend all that time just for $100. So, I decided to learn to play by ear. This is my vending machines of piano. Now, there's initial investment. Just like the vending machines, you have to learn a lot of stuff before you can set them up. To learn piano by ear, you're going to have to spend about 4 months practicing every single day on ear training exercises. You're training yourself. You're training your ear, you're training your mind, you're learning some music theory so that you can learn to play by ear. But once you learn to play by ear, once that initial investment is over, now in an hour, you can learn 5 songs. And this is completely doable. If you can play by ear, if you know a song you've heard on the radio before, you can literally learn it almost instantly. Now, I mean, this is even I'm giving this, you might be able to learn more songs in an hour. But yeah, you might have to dink around and kind of figure it out a little bit. So I'm kind of being conservative, saying you can learn 5 songs an hour. That means in 30 hours, you can learn 150 songs, as opposed to 30 hours learning 1 song. You've literally just 150x'd your songs. Now, even if you can't learn 5 songs an hour, even if you can learn 3 songs an hour, you're still 90xing your output from your practice time. So either way, you're definitely going to learn many, many more songs than you're able to learn, and really speed your progress as a piano player. Here's some other reasons why I think that this is a must-learn skill, playing by ear. First of all, it's huge for memory slips. Now, a big reason we get memory slips is because our visual memory is not as strong as our auditory memory in humans. I want you to think about this. Answer this question. Be real honest with yourself too. Think of the last song you learned to play by ear using sheet music. If I gave you a blank staff paper, nothing on it, just blank staff paper, could you, from memory, write down the exact notes of the song? And I'll tell you, from my experience, it might be different for you. From my experience, I don't think I could. Or if I could, it would be very hard. I'd have to really think, really use a lot of brain power and think, oh, what's the first note? Okay, it's a G. Second note, it goes up to a B flat, but there's 2 notes, so there's also below it a C or something like that. It would take me a long time and a lot of energy and mental bandwidth to be able to remember it. Now answer me this question. Can you hum the last song you learned? Literally just hum it. Of course you could. That's super easy. You can hum the melody because your auditory memory is very strong. So if you learn to play by ear, if you have that auditory memory, all you have to do is translate that auditory memory into notes on the piano. And once you can learn to do that, anything you're hearing in your head, you can instantly play on piano, which by the way is also great for composing. Because a lot of times you'll have something in your head, you're like, I know this is going to sound good, but you can't figure it out on piano. If you can play by ear, you can figure that out easily. Also, playing by ear is absolutely critical to playing in 90% of bands. And I'll tell you, I'm living in Nashville right now, and every band I play with, nobody is handing out sheet music. The guitar player isn't going, here's your sheet music, make sure you play it exactly like this. The guitar player is going, bro, it goes like this. Da-na-na-na-na-na-na. And then I gotta figure it out on piano. Not that every guitar player is a bro, but you get my drift. Like, they're gonna tell you it goes like this, and you're gonna have to figure it out. And the same goes if you play jazz or blues all that stuff. There's hardly any actual sheet music. If anything, they'll have lead sheets, but for the most part, you're figuring out by ear. Another reason, you can have more time learning style and expressiveness. I think this is a huge part of piano. I think any piano teacher would agree with me that learning to play expressively and put emotions into your song is maybe the most important part. I would say technique maybe is, but it's definitely one of the most important parts of playing. But the problem people have is when it takes you a month to learn a song, then you barely have any time to actually spend learning that expression, the expressionism, and actually learning how to play like that. So it's kind of sad because you have to spend all this laborious time learning a song, and then you don't have time to actually learn how to play it well and really polish it. And this is kind of a fringe benefit, but once you can learn, like once you spend 1 to 2 months, you'll be at the point where you can literally practice in the car. Because when the song comes on the radio, you'll start hearing the song and you can start trying to figure out the melody in your head. So literally, if you're driving to work, if you're driving to class, if you're driving on a long road trip, you can literally put in the earphones. Well, maybe you're not if you're driving, maybe put in the radio. But if you're in the passenger seat, put in the earphones, and literally you can just be thinking, okay, I think this is a CDE. I think this pattern is going to be I think this chord progression is a 6-4-1-5, and you can literally practice in the car, so you can multiply out your practice time. All right, here's why people can't learn it, and I'm kind of passionate about this because it really pissed me off. Sorry for my language. That it took me so long to learn it, because before I took this class in college, I was literally beating my head against the wall trying to learn it, and I would literally take a song and I'd try to learn it from scratch, and it was just mind-numbing. Sometimes I would kind of get it, but I wasn't even sure if it was right. It would take me hours just going over and over my iPod. Trust me, the listen over and over method, it does not work. It's a huge waste of time. I wasted probably 6 months trying to learn play by ear using that method. Need a system. I figured it out in college when I switched to a music major. There's a class called Aural Skills, or like ear training skills. And in that class, they taught us a system, and right away after the first day of that class, I knew it. Like, I got it. It clicked. It was like, oh, this is how you learn. You can't just jump into trying to learn a song. You have to do all these exercises, and you have to gradually build up your skills. And I'm going to show you how to do that right after this in the webinar. All right, so let's talk about the first step. Let's actually get into the nuts and bolts in this. I'm going to turn this camera on. Up here, it's a top-down piano camera, just in case I do some actual playing so you can see it. All right, note expansion. Here's how it actually works. I want you to imagine in the entire universe, there's only 3 notes, C, D, and E. Let's turn this up. In the entire universe, there's no more notes than just those 3. Could you play by ear if you knew those were the only 3 notes? You could probably already do that, and we're going to do an exercise right after this to see if you can. Now imagine you could master these 3 notes. So these 3 notes, you know, like the back of your hand. You just absolutely like master these. Then you can move on to 4 notes. Then instead of just C, D, E, you can add the F. But guess what? That's easy to learn because you've already mastered these 3. So you're really only adding 1 more note. So it's really easy to learn the 4th note. Then you move on to 5 notes. And all you have to learn is really 7 notes. And you could argue 12 notes to get the whole chromatic scale, but there's A, B, C, D, E, F, G. That's it. Now if you want to do accidentals, then there's an extra 5. Then you have to learn 12 notes. And don't worry about learning the octaves. It's really easy once you learn 1 octave to transpose it up to other octaves. So and if you don't know what I'm talking about right now, it's more advanced music theory stuff. Don't worry about it for now. But really you only have to learn 7 notes. So you have to master the first 3 and then you gradually move on from there. Alright, so let's try an actual example right now. If you have a paper and a pencil, get it out right now. I want you to imagine there's only 3 notes in the universe, C, D, and E. And instead of calling them C, D, and E, we're going to call them 1, 2, and 3. And the reason is because later we can transpose this to other keys. Don't worry about it for now. Just imagine the note C is 1, the note D is 2, the note E is 3. Alright, I'm going to play a pattern, and I want you to write the notes, okay? So for example, if I play, you would write 3, 2, 1, 2, 1. That's the answer to that riddle, okay? So let's go through one right now. Alright, write down those 5 notes. I'm going to do it one more time. Alright, the correct answer to that was 1, 2, 3, 2, 3. Now, for some of you, that might have been challenging. You might have got it wrong. Don't worry about it. You have to work through it. For some of you, you might be saying, Zach, that's ridiculously easy. If so, great. You're ahead of the game. You're already ready to go into 4 notes. So it might take you even less time to learn to play by ear. Now, let's do another one. Let's do another one. Okay? Let's do write it down. I'm gonna play it one more time. All right, the correct answer: 3, 2, 1, 2, 1. Did you get that one right? Maybe you got 2 in a row. Maybe you didn't. Now let's try adding a 4th note. Now, if you didn't get those first 3 notes, this might be too challenging for you. That's fine. You have to work on the first 3 notes. I'm going to show you later how to get those exercises. But let's try 4 notes now. So now your options are 1, 2, 3, 4. Whenever I play this note, it's a 4. All right, ready? It's a little longer example. Let's try it again. I'm going to give you one more try with that one. Alright, the correct answer is 1, 2, 3, 4, 3, 2, 3. Did you get it? Maybe you did, maybe you didn't. But you get the process, right? And then eventually, once you master those 4, we're going to add a 5th note, we're going to add a 6th note, we're going to add a 7th note. That's how it works. And I'm going to show you later at the bottom of this webinar, at the end of it, how to get all these exercises with 4 notes and 5 notes and how to gradually expand it. Alright, that's step 1. Now step 2 is intervals. Now if you notice all the examples I did, there was no skips. And skip, I mean you skip this note, or none of my examples were, right? Those are intervals, those are trickier. But they're completely learnable, and the fastest way to use them is reference songs. And what this is you already have songs that are already stuck in your head from just growing up and having these songs, and we're going to use these songs to hook onto different patterns. And let me show you what I mean. Alright, so these intervals, the interval from C to D is a second. Well, technically it's a major second. Don't worry right now about major and minor seconds, major and minor thirds. We're just going to do 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th. They're all 2nd and 3rd are major, 4th and 5th are perfect, 4th, perfect. Don't worry about that. We're just going to keep it simple. So C and D is a 2nd, C and E is a 3rd, C and F is a 4th, and C to G is a 5th. Now, the easier way to learn these is to use reference songs. So, the song Happy Birthday, Happy Birthday to you, that first part of it, Happy Birthday, that's a major, that's a second. That's a second. So if I'm playing you an example and it goes, you can think, Happy Birthday to you. Oh, that's just a second, right? A 3rd, Oh When the Saints Go Marching In. If you've heard the song, Oh When the Saints Go Marching In. So that first part of that, Oh When the Saints Go Marching In, that's the 3rd. Oh When. So when you hear that in a song, you can snap it to Oh When the Saints and use it to figure out that interval. Next, a 4th, Amazing Grace. It's these notes, C to F. Amazing Amazing Grace. So if you can recognize that's a fourth. Fifth, Star Wars. The Star Wars theme song. That first interval. Whenever you hear that, that's a fifth. Alright. And if you don't know these songs, I used to have a cheat sheet with these songs in it, and then I found this website that was way better for all the songs. All you gotta do is type in intervals reference songs. Here we go. And look for Earmaster, interval song chart generator. This dude spent a lot of time coming up with a ton of songs. So for example, major second, Happy Birthday. That's one I use. If you don't know that song as well, or there's one of these other songs that works, you can use any of these songs for the major second. And there's even a YouTube file for all of these. If you don't know Oh Win the Saints, I use Oh Win the Saints, but you could use any of these other songs. That's a different song. You could use Blister in the Sun. You could use that Sweet Swing Low, Sweet Chariot. There's a YouTube clip for all of these. So if you don't like one of these and you don't know it, that's fine. Just use one of the Earmaster ones. All right, so let's actually try a couple examples. All right, so I'm gonna play an interval, and I'm gonna want you to try to figure it out. You ready? And play it one more time. Alright, is it a second, third, fourth, or fifth? Now, let me show you the process how I'd go through to actually learn this. So, let's see if it's Happy Birthday. Happy birth. No, that's not right. Happy birthday. Nope, it's Happy Birthday. Let's try a third. Oh Win the Saints. Oh, win the Saints. Oh, win, na na. Yep, that's a third. Just by my reference songs. Boom. Let's try another one, okay? This one's a little trickier. If you have to pause the video, you can even rewind it and hear that interval over and over. Try all the reference songs out. Alright, now let me show you how I do it. So I'd go Happy birth. Nope, definitely not Happy Birthday. Oh, win the Saints. Nope, definitely not Oh Win the Saints. Amazing Grace. Not Amazing Grace. Na 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 na. Yep, that's a Star Wars. That's a Star Wars theme song. So therefore it's a fifth, and it is C to G. Alright, I hope that makes sense in how to learn reference songs. Now, here's the best way to learn these things. There's this little website called musictheory.net. Now, there's a lot of paid ones. You don't need any of them. This thing is baller. This thing gets buckets. It's an extremely powerful program. So you go to musictheory.net, click exercises. It's 100% free. And see there's staff identification, keyboard, fretboard, ear training. Boom. You want to look for ear training and interval ear training. Now, the key what you want to do to this is right now it has all these intervals as an option. When you're starting out, trust me, just do 3 or 4 at a time. You don't want to have all these. It's way too confusing. So all you do is click the gear, intervals, and we only want major second, major third, perfect fourth, perfect fifth. Unselect all the other ones and go back. Boom. So now let's actually do this example. So na na. So is that Happy birth? No, that doesn't make sense. Oh win the Saints. No, it's not that one. Amazing Grace. Yep, that sounds right. Yep, so I'm going to say perfect fourth. Now if we click it, it turns green. That means we got it, and it moves on to the next one. So that's how you do the reference songs. And you can just go through a bunch of examples. Like, that's musictheories.net is nice because you can just rapid fire through a bunch of examples. Alright. Musictheory.net, remember, you have to go to the ear training section. There's another interval identification, but It's not ear training, it's sheet music. So make sure you go to the ear training example. Yeah, don't do, like I said, also make sure you uncheck the other one so you're only doing a couple intervals at a time. Alright, step 3, learning the left hand. Now learning the left hand is much, much trickier than the right hand. But first, let me just play something for you and let me know what you think. I'm going to play the song Hotline Bling by Drake. And let me know what you think about this. My mic fell off for a second, sorry. Alright, so do you think that sounded good? Be honest, be 100% honest. Do you think that sounded good? I think it sounds great. I think it sounds great. When I play it for people, they love it. Guess what? The big secret. Those are the wrong chords. Those are literally the wrong chords of the song. The real chords, I was playing F, C, A minor, G. So it sounds like... The real chords are F, D minor, A minor, which sounds like this. Now that sounds great too. Both of them sound great. What about this? Does this sound alright? That sounds great too. The trick for learning the left hand, the easy way. Now there's a more advanced way, I can talk about that too, but the easy way is don't worry about getting the right chords, just get chords that sound good. Who cares? Nobody's going to come up and say, dude, look, good job, but you're playing the right chords. Nobody's going to notice. Nobody's ever said that to me. People just come up and say, dude, that sounded awesome, that sounded great. So how we do this is we use music theory to harmonize. Now, how to harmonize? Let's go through the actual process. If you don't know, first step, you have to figure out the melody. And we're going to use, step 1 and step 2. That's what you do to figure out. You might have to dink around on the keyboard a lot. You're going to have to figure it out. But once you know the melody, now you can harmonize with chords. Now there's the beginner's way, which takes a little longer. And there's the advanced way, which you have to know a little bit of music theory for. But it's a lot faster to learn, and you can actually vary up your chords more, and we'll talk about that. So, first, the beginner's way, all you have to do is use chords with similar notes. So, the first chord, that's the melody, right? So all we have to do, the main notes of this, the first and last note are always important. So, a C is an important note. Typically the highest note is important, so that's this. And any note that's held out more is important a lot of times as well. So this E might be important. So here's 3 notes. Any chord that contains 2 of these 3 notes is probably a good idea. So if you don't know your chords, no big deal. All you have to do is use the cheat sheets, and I'll have those below. Major chords, minor chords. So, a C and an E, we could use a C major chord because it contains a C and an E. And that's going to sound great. Now, if you don't know, I'm using a left-hand pattern. I guess we could just do block chords. That sounds great. What about F and a C? Well, an F major chord has an F and a C, so we can do... Ooh, I like that better, right? Either of those will work though. You could even use an A minor chord. If you look over here, it has an A and a C. Ooh, that sounds interesting. Notice how all those chords sound different, but all of them sound good, right? Now you keep going. Okay, this looks like an A minor chord to me, so like you could maybe do an A minor there. So actually, there's going to be one in between, and then we only play a C in this whole chord. So let's do a C. have this again. So remember, we can use an F, a C, or an A minor. We already used F and a C, so let's just use A minor. It sounds pretty good to me, but you don't have to do that. You could do... That sounds fine too. There's a lot of different options that will sound great. All you have to do is figure out the melody, figure out some chords that might go with it, and then you know if it sounds good. I mean, if it sounds good to you, it sounds good. There's no right or wrong answer. And as you go through this more and more times, oh, and another thing, typically you don't want to repeat chords. Like, you don't want to, typically, it won't go C to A, back to C, then to G to C. You know, usually it's like a 4-chord process or a 3-chord process. Not always, but you'll notice a lot of times if you go right back, like if I did... Right, you could do that. It kind of sounds a little lame because it's only on 2 chords, in my opinion. You can still do that, but typically it's going to be like 3 or 4 chords. Alright, so that's kind of, if you don't know music theory, that's fine. You can use all these cheat sheets to figure it out. Now the second way, it's a little more advanced. It's where you use the key to figure out the chords. Now, how you find out the key is, okay, so if we knew the melody of this whole song, you'll notice it's all the white notes. So, what scale has all the white notes? If you don't know that, you can just look at your major scales. C major scale has all the white notes. So we know we're in the key of C major. Now, if it had other notes in it, like if it had only an F sharp, we would know it's G major. If it had a B flat but the rest white notes, it's probably an F major. But this one is in C major. So now we just go to chords and keys. In the key of C, these are the chords you can use. So you can use any of these chords, but the best ones typically for pop songs are 1, 4, 5, and 6. So in the key of C, you can use the most common chords are C, F, G, and A minor. What did you notice when we were doing it the other way? We ended up using F, C, and A minor. We could probably throw in a G, it'll probably sound good. And any of these chord progressions with those 4 chords, probably going to sound good. You could do... Right, any of those, it's going to sound good. So that's how you figure out the left hand without even having to learn it by ear. You just have to use a little bit of music theory, a little bit of creativity, and you can make songs sound awesome. Now, it took me, I'm going to be honest, more than 4 months to be able to learn the actual chords in a song. And I will tell you from experience, even if I know the actual chords, probably about 70% of the time, I don't use the real chords because I don't like them as much as the chords that I made up. And you'll find that you'll probably go through that same process where you'll figure out your made up chords actually sound better than the original chords that were in the song. But just so you know how you would figure it out, you have to use, there's 2 ways to do it. One, you can use bass line, so you can listen for the bass line of the song. But that's tricky too because the chords oftentimes are in inversions in the bass line, so you can't just say whatever the bass note is, that's the root note of the chord. It doesn't always work like that. And so you can do it that way. You're going to still have to use some creativity and figure out, okay, just because it's an A in the bass, it could be an F major chord, it could be a D minor chord, and just have an inversion in the bass. The way I figure it out is, honestly, I hate this answer, I hate it, but you just got to feel it. You really just got to feel it. And as you play more and more songs with similar chord progressions, when you hear a chord progression, you'll just feel it. And I wish I had a better answer than that. There's some things you can do, like typically the 1 chord feels like home. It feels like the chord you should end on. The 5 chord feels like it has tension, like, and you want to go back to the 1 chord. The 6 chord, it sounds kind of sad, but so does the minor 2 chord. That sounds sad, so does the 6 chord. So you can use little clues like that, but at the end of the day, you just gotta feel it. I'm gonna be honest with you, and it just comes with doing a ton of songs. And if you have no idea what I was just talking about with that entire little tangent. Don't worry about it that you have to know a little more advanced music theory to be able to do that. And I'll tell you how to get that after this too. Alright, so that's how you figure out the left hand. So what we just did, let's go back to the PowerPoint. So we learned the vending machine metaphor. Look, you got to make an investment in yourself, about 4 months of consistent practice to get to the point where you can play by ear. That's the first thing. We talked about the note expansion strategy, where you start with 3 and you slowly add more. I'm going to talk about the biggest mistakes using that after this. Second, we learned intervals and how to use reference songs to quickly learn them. Third, we learned that little left hand trick where you use music theory to actually figure out a good left hand chord progression. Now we're going to talk about the biggest mistakes next. Number 1, not pushing through frustration. I know this sounds obvious, but bear with me. Look, I hope in this webinar I made it seem doable. I made it seem possible. And you might even be thinking, oh, this is super easy. All I got to do is learn a couple intervals, learn a couple notes and slowly expand them. Look, it's still going to be frustrating. I'm going to be 100% honest with you. I wish I could tell you this is going to be super easy. You just breeze through it and, it's not frustrating. There will be days where you just can't get an interval. And no matter how many times you listen to it, you still get it wrong. And you just got to fight through that. Look, I'll tell you from experience, it's like you might spend a week trying to get a certain interval and you can't get it, and on that 7th day all of a sudden it clicks and you got it. But you have to just push through. It gets easier as it goes on. Step 2, slipping into guess and check mode. This is where you're learning, let's say, intervals, and you're on musictheory.net and you're doing this rapid fire intervals, and you hear an interval and you just kind of do, oh, this sounds like a major 5th, boom, wrong. Oh, it sounds like maybe it's a perfect 4th, right? Okay, next interval, boom. And you don't think about it. You kind of just like quickly guess it, and it's really easy to slip into that because it's so much easier than the hard work of, okay, I'm going to go through my reference songs. I'm going to really think and really focus, is this the right interval? So don't slip into that. You have to always really think and focus on it. Third is not singing it back. So we didn't talk about this much in this webinar, but think about it like this. If you've learned a foreign language, Spanish, German, whatever, you'll know that you learn stuff much better when you learn it both ways. When you learn how to translate an English word into Spanish, but also translate it back from Spanish to English. And it's the same way with piano. You have to learn how to hear a song, hear a sound, and translate it onto the piano from your mind, but you also have to learn how to have a sound in your mind and produce the sound by singing it. And look, you don't have to be good at singing. I'm not good at singing. I don't have good tone. I kind of flip, I do this weird stuff, but it doesn't matter. All you have to do is know the pitches. So if I'm doing, I want to be able to sing back, na 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 na, right? Or you can even hum it, and get close to those notes. And the reason you do this, when you're actually learning songs, you have to be able to slow stuff down, right? If you might hear cause when I see your face, there's not a thing that I would change. And you might go through that really fast, so you have to be able to slow down and sing back, stop the recording and sing back. So when I see, okay, what interval is that? So when I see, na na, amazing grace. Okay, now I know that first, but you see how I did that? You have to be able to slow it down, and it helps so much more if you can sing it back. I know some people are embarrassed about your voice. Who cares about your voice? It doesn't, you're not going to be singing out in public, This is just for your own practicing. Alright, here's what I want you to have next. I want you to be able to learn songs in minutes. I want you to make this investment in yourself. I want you to be a car ride pianist where you can literally hear a song on the ride home and walk in the door and know it on piano. I want you to 150x your song output, even if you don't get to that, even if you just doubled your song output, even if you tripled your song output, that would be great. I want you to have that. And I want you to have a systematic method to get you there in 4 months. And yes, it really is 100% doable if you are consistent and make this investment in yourself. So I want to talk about my play-by-ear mastery course, and I have a special deal going on right now after watching this webinar with a bunch of bonuses that I'm going to throw in with it because I want you all to really learn this stuff. Alright, so I believe this is the best course on playing by ear. Obviously I'm biased because I created it, but I went through all the other courses. I figured out the things I liked about them, the things I didn't like, a couple little tricks I really basically just stole from them because I'm like, man, I never thought about it like that, but it's a good idea. Let's put it into my course too. I think it goes much more in depth. There's a lot of courses out there that kind of just are like, oh, intervals, learn them. But as you're going to see in my course, there's exercises, there's quizzes and tests, which is a big part, so you actually know if you got it right. Most of them don't have that. You can literally get started in 15 minutes a day. Alright, before we talk about the bonuses, I'm just going to bring you into the actual course itself. Let's hide this. This thing keeps popping up. Can't connect to iCloud. I don't need iCloud. Alright, Play by Ear Mastery. Here's the course. So in the course, first is going to be an intro, lesson on mastering pitch. So that's just singing, being able to go na and match the pitch. Anybody can do it. If you think you can't, trust me, anybody can match pitch. I'll teach you how. Up or down. Next lesson is literally, it's even easier than what I was telling you guys. I literally go na na. Did the pitch go up or did the pitch go down? I want to start it off so easy to make sure that nobody falls through the cracks and everybody learns to play by ear. Lesson 4, scales degree 1 through 3. That's what we just went over. Then 1 through 5, so we're adding a couple more notes. And if you notice down here, we do 1 through 5 descending. So once you get that, you'll have and you'll have all the notes, but then we'll also go through the full major scale. There's also the intervals. So there's intervals part 1, which has 4 intervals. Then there's intervals part 2, which expands our intervals. Intervals part 3. So just like everything else, we're starting simple and we're slowly building out from our base. That's how you have to learn. You're not going to learn it if you don't do stuff like that. There's other things like outlining the 1 chord, time setting the key, that we didn't go into. We can go into that later. And then mastering the minor key. So we'll talk about minor scales. And then we're going to talk about transposing. This is more advanced stuff. Honestly, once you get to here, you'll be able to play by ear. But this is the really even, just drilling even further to the next level. This is a huge thing. Lesson 19, hook patterns. What a hook pattern is there certain patterns after I covered 100 songs on YouTube that I figured out, man, a lot of songs have these patterns. So if you basically master the patterns, when you're listening to a song, once that pattern actually hits, you'll instantly hook onto it because you've mastered these hook patterns, and you'll instantly know where you are on the keyboard, so you can at least get that start, right? And then from there you can use intervals and everything to expand out. And then we actually have a full start to finish step-by-step example. I'm going to go through 2. There's PDF downloads. I'll give you some of these cheat sheets for free just with this webinar, but there's a bunch of other ones that you can also use that'll help you out. Alright, so here's what you're going to get. Play by Ear Mastery course. This sells for $5.97 on my website. You'll notice I'm going to give you a huge discount on all these. But then you're going to get the Music Theory Mastery course for free. And that's going to teach you the music theory. So like stuff for like the left-hand pattern, you can actually understand really what's going on. And eventually you can wean yourself off of using the cheat sheets. Then my Technique Mastery course. This is a course about a workout plan that will get you rock solid technique. A system of exercises. Just like Play by Ear Mastery, we're starting simple and gradually going up. Same with our Technique Mastery course. We start with basic scales, then we move on to 2, 3, 4 octave scales, advanced arpeggio, stuff like that. And I'm going to throw in my Project Captivate course free. This is the course that teaches all the cool stuff. The flatos, the arpeggio sweeping, the left-hand patterns, some of those that I was showing you actually in the course. It'll teach you all that stuff. Throwing in free. Those are my 4 kind of flagship courses. They all sell for $5.97. They're all right up here: Project Captivate, Technique Mastery, Play by Ear, Music Theory. Those are my flagship courses. And I'm also going to throw in the interactive quizzes and tests. Those just come with the Play by Ear Mastery course, so you get all of those thrown in. My Ultimate Piano PDF Cheat Sheets pack. So this will give you every PDF cheat sheet you need to help you learn stuff faster on piano, so you don't have to dig through a bunch of material to find quickly what is a chord, what is a scale, that kind of stuff. And I'm going to throw in my lightning fast piano scales ebook and MP3. This was a Amazon best-selling ebook on how to ramp up your piano scales. Throw that in for free. And email Piano Coach. What I mean by that, if you have trouble through the play-by-ear, you're like, Zach, I'm stuck, I can't figure it out, just email me, zach@bestpianoclass.com, and I'll respond and I'll help you through this. I want to be with you every step of the way. So the total value is $3,219. I went to college to learn this stuff. I was paying, $4,000 a semester to learn all this stuff, but I'm going to give it to you for only $27 a month. And to get it, all you have to go is to bestpianoclass.com/play-by-ear deal, and you can get it. 100% risk-free. Looks like any of my courses, if you email me within 60 days, I'm happy to give you your money back. I run an honest business. I would never want to take your money if I didn't get you the result you were looking for. So just email me and you can get all your money back. Zach@bestpianoclass.com. Oh, and you can cancel at any time, by the way. That $27 a month, you're not locked in for a year. You're not locked in, if you learn everything in the first month, shoot me an email, cancel out, you just got the whole thing for $27. If it takes you 4 months, like most people, then every month you'll be billed $27. You can cancel out after that. It's just however long it takes you. Alright, so if you're ready to really make this investment in yourself and learn to play by ear so you can learn, 150x your song output, all you got to do is click the link below or go to bestpianoclass.com/play-by-ear deal. Click the pay button and enter your info and log into the membership site in the next few minutes. I'm going to show you quick how to do that. All you got to do is go to, actually before I do that, let's go into actually one of these lessons so I can show you what it's like. So, for example, the scale of degrees 1 through 3 lesson, that's this lesson. So first there's going to be a video explaining how to do it with key points. Then there's going to be an exercise. Now this exercise, remember I was telling you how singing it back is actually just as important as learning to play by ear on piano. So there's a bunch of examples. So for example, this one, you'd play it and you just sing back 1, 2, 3, 2, 1. Then you play it on the piano. 1, 2, 3, 2, 1. And you really start drilling in every day you do these, and you drill into your subconscious those numbers of which note corresponds with which number. And then after that, there's a PDF. Some of them might have a couple PDFs. And then there's a quiz, and I think this is super important. So when you click the quiz, you'll go to the quiz page. Here's what it looks like, and these are actual audio examples. So half of the examples on the quiz will be piano notes, and half of them are actual songs in real life. I want to make sure you make that jump from not just being able to learn, if you hear it on piano, you can play it on piano, but if you hear it in real life, you can play it in real life. Alright, so let's do an actual example. So for example, where's a piano? Here we go. Write these notes using the scale degrees 1, 2, and 3. So if you click it, so it's na 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 na. Now if you don't know that, there's a hint. If you're stuck, hint, it starts on scale degree 2. So 2, 1, 2, 3, 2. You'd write that here, and you'd answer the rest of these questions. And then you can also, half of these examples are actual real songs. So for example, so you just heard them, let's listen again. Let it be, let it be. So it sounds to me like 3, 2, 2, 1. Hint, starts on scale degree 3. So you click 3, 2, 2, 1. And at the end of it, you would hit the submit quiz, and you'd see which ones you got right, which ones you got wrong, and you can practice the ones you got wrong. And I think this is critical because you have to have feedback. You have to know if you're doing it right or wrong and be able to test yourself. Alright, so anyway, here's how you get the course. First you go to, here I have it open, I'll just go through the actual process. There's a link below, or you can go to bestpianoclass.com/play-by-ear deal. Hopefully my internet's not too slow. It's been kind of kicking out. Here we go. Alright, so this page, you know you're on the right page because it says webinar special bonus deal. and this page just tells you more about the course. Now a lot of this stuff I already talked about in the webinar, so you'll probably already know it, but if you need more info on the course, you can find it. And you just click here, and there's actually going to be a couple different pricing options. So $27 a month, that's what I was talking about. And notice you get all these bonuses that I was talking about, basically all my flagship courses just for $27 a month. But you can also choose if you want $8 per week, if you want a more smaller upfront investment, or if you want lifetime access, $297. If you're planning on keeping this for more than 10 months, and you probably think, why would I want to do that? It only takes 4 months to learn. Well, there's a bunch of other courses you're going to go through if you choose to, like the Technique Mastery course, Project Captivate, and also some people just like keeping it for reference. So if you want to do lifetime access, you can. And then all you do is click Get Started, and then there's just one more step, last step, and there's the webinar bonuses again, so you know you're in the right spot. And all you got to do is fill out this form, and then press Submit and Get Access, and you'll have instant access to the course right away. So just to be clear, what you're going to get: Play by Ear Mastery course, Music Theory Mastery course, Technique Mastery course, Project Captivate course, the interactive quizzes and tests, the Ultimate Piano PDF Cheat Sheets Pack, Lightning Fast Piano Scales ebook and MP3, and access to me as an email piano coach. Total value $3,219. You get it for $27 a month. So right now what I want you to do is click the link below or go to bestpianoclass.com/play-by-ear-deal and get your deal today. Thanks a lot for watching. I'm Zach Evans again. Hope you had fun doing this webinar. Peace out and happy practicing.